Okay, so let's kind of discombobulate this. All right. On the bottom here, we have a nice diagram just in case we want to look at anything. Okay, this starts on root here, and that root could just as well be right here. It could be this yellow root right here, and it would go root to root, which would be an octave, then to the fifth, root to root is an octave, and then to the fifth. So that's about here. In other words, if I just grabbed this right here, copied it, and then decided instead of this wonderful diagram, I want to put that. It would still hold. It would still hold, right? There's your E shape and all that stuff. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you. We have all that up there, so it'd be a little bit of redundancy, but it's nice to, before we go back, the back is working now. This is the caged letters where they start, and here's your modes. Okay, the only thing that isn't really shown is Lydian 4th and Locrian 7th. There's the 7th for the Locrian. Locrian's easy because you do these mirror image. These are the same: half step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So starting on the 7th of the key of anything, you can just go. And I call that an S4L. Right here in the pattern, just looking at 7362 right here. This square right here, I call it an S4L. So it's 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4. The reason why we have the black notes here is just to tell them apart. So this is an S2L. Here's a nice S3L. Here's an S4L that doesn't have the black in it, but that's because you add the S3L into that, because this S4L is actually, it's just a combination of the top line here, the bottom line here, okay, and the middles here. So the 7 root 2 is the top of this, and the 2, 3, 4 is the bottom of the next one. So on an S4L now, I want to show you that this makes sense. I probably don't have to do this, but I will. I will. Something like this. And then we'll just kind of sandwich it down. Sandwich it down to the right. You want to get the right width of these frets. So you see how it fits right on top of there? But we still have our S4L right there. That's what an S4L is. And it's just an extra pattern that I use, but it's not an official pattern. The only official patterns, whoops, help, are the S3XL, the S2L, and the S3L. You can, from there, you can build any scale, even from the fret nut. Because if you use the minor scale sorry, this is something else. But if you use that title, but this is the capo fret nut pattern stack. Okay, so let's take it from that 3. If I put the capo on, now this is where the fret nut is. It goes like all right, we're not gonna, we should be able to play this pattern. Let's see what happens. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roots. Okay, 2, 3, 4. All right, then 5, 6. It's working, but, and we have to warp it up. Okay, from here, from the 5, if you choose that E to be the 5th of something, what would that E be the 5th of? A, right? The pattern, this long stack is for the fret nut. This isn't part of today's lesson, but I'll just play it. So if this is the E being the 5th of A, you would just play this pattern. Now we're on the 7 root 2. Now we have to warp up. Okay? Now that's interesting because we landed on an A. And A is the root. E would be its 5th. So we got a little bit into patterns there, a little extra information there. Clearly, this isn't an easy topic, but it is. It's good that I say, but it is. Alright, so this can be labeled like this, which is nice. We've got the cage shapes. Okay, but we can go back and put it where it was, like that. And it gives us the numbers, because it's redundancy. Because we have the cage shapes labeled up here. For instance, we said we were starting on the 3 there to start what? On the root here rather with the E. So here's that E, E. D2 is up here. Now this is the D note. See, here's E flat, there's the D note. Why is the D note right here? The D note's right on that D, because this is pretty much a start your pentatonic scale from there. So the C pentatonic scale starts 3, 4, 5. There's your 3, 4, 5. The D pentatonic scale starts 2, 3, 4, or diatonic 2, 3, 4. But that's for the root, so it actually would be the Dorian at that point. Here's your root. There's your D-shaped root. For the E-shaped, here's your E-shaped root. For C-shaped, here's your C-shaped root. For A-shaped, here's your A-shaped root, 5 root 3, second inversion in C. In A, G, here's your G-shaped root. Now that kind of thing. Let's go through these. By the time we're done with them, we forget what we're talking about. So this is the crux of the lesson here, right here. And I know we only got a minute and a half in this segment, and so we want to kind of get a thought across, and so the segment doesn't stop and I have to explain. Just for people on YouTube who only watch 10-minute segments, we'll just start it up again. This is the magic circle, C, G, D, A, E, and these are the cages. So the length of these bars is the length of the cage, and with the D cage up here, it looks like we're going to want to focus on something here. Here's the D cage, right? Alright, I have my drawing tool here. Here's the D cage. So here's the D note, but the D cage actually extends into these notes here. It's a D-shaped root, which we got 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, but then in D shape, then we put another S2L on top, 3, 5, warp up this one, 6 root, and then we go back to S2L. Okay, so we're zoomed back out here. Now notice there's another magic circle underneath that's offset by one caged letter. And that's why I'm talking about magic circle plus. The outer is a magic circle that's offset by one caged letter.